Iran reveals CIA and FBI are monitoring Black Israelites right now. 1. Iran's shocking discovery: U.S. intelligence agencies are watching Black Israelites. The revelation that U.S. intelligence agencies, particularly the CIA and FBI, have placed the Black Israelite movement under intense surveillance has ignited widespread debate and speculation, raising profound questions about the nature of state power, historical narratives, and the limits of religious and civil liberties. According to Iranian intelligence sources, American authorities perceive the movement as a potential destabilizing force, justifying covert monitoring and infiltration. This assertion invites deeper reflection on the motivations behind such scrutiny, the extent of governmental intervention, and the broader philosophical implications of knowledge, control, and state authority. While Iran's claim may be shaped by its own geopolitical agenda, the mere suggestion that a religious community rooted in Black identity and biblical heritage is being watched so closely by the U.S. government rekindles long-standing concerns about surveillance, racial politics, and the mechanisms through which dominant powers seek to regulate historical discourse. The Black Israelite movement has long occupied a space of fascination, controversy, and misrepresentation. At the core of its belief system is the assertion that African Americans, along with other people of color, are the true descendants of the biblical Israelites. This claim challenges conventional Judeo-Christian teachings and Western historical narratives, positioning the movement as both a religious and socio-political force. Over the past several decades, Black Israelite communities have gained visibility in urban centers across the United States, drawing adherents through teachings centered on identity, spirituality, and historical justice. For many followers, the movement is not merely a theological framework, but a radical act of reclamation, a means of restoring a lost heritage and resisting systemic oppression. In their view, the recognition of their lineage is not just an abstract intellectual exercise, but an existential awakening, one that empowers African Americans and other marginalized communities to redefine themselves outside the constraints of a Eurocentric historical paradigm. Given this transformative ideology, it is unsurprising that the movement has attracted both admiration and scrutiny. Supporters regard Black Israelites as truth seekers who challenge historical inaccuracies, while detractors, including some mainstream religious institutions and government bodies, frame them as a radical or subversive force. According to Iranian intelligence reports, U.S. authorities have designated the Black Israelite movement as a high-risk group due to its growing influence, its engagement with historical revisionism, and its potential to mobilize disenfranchised communities in ways that disrupt existing power structures. Iran claims to have intercepted communications and reviewed classified documents, indicating that American intelligence agencies have deployed a range of covert strategies to monitor and control the movement. These strategies allegedly include the use of informants, digital tracking, and psychological operations designed to discredit Black Israelite teachings. Iranian analysts suggest that the FBI and CIA have long viewed racial and religious movements with skepticism, particularly when those movements challenge dominant narratives. Historical precedents, such as the FBI's COINTELPRO operations in the 1960s and 1970s, designed to undermine Black activist groups like the Black Panther Party and the Nation of Islam, offer a chilling historical parallel, reinforcing the idea that intelligence agencies would perceive the Black Israelites as a group worthy of surveillance. The fundamental question, however, is why the U.S. government would regard a religious movement, one centered on self-determination and spiritual revival, as a potential national security threat. Iranian sources speculate that the Black Israelite movement is being monitored not because of any direct threat of violence or insurrection, but because of its capacity to reshape historical consciousness and challenge institutional authority. By asserting that African Americans are the true Israelites, the movement calls into question dominant religious and historical frameworks, including those that underpin Western Christianity and Jewish identity. This epistemic disruption is not merely theological, it is deeply political. If knowledge is power, then the ability to redefine one's historical and spiritual identity carries with it the potential to reconfigure existing social hierarchies. From the perspective of U.S. authorities, Such a shift in consciousness could have profound societal consequences. A movement that encourages Black Americans to see themselves as a divinely chosen people, distinct from mainstream religious institutions, might inspire greater political activism, resistance to assimilation, and a reevaluation of historical allegiances. If large segments of the African American community begin to question official historical narratives and seek alternative religious and cultural affiliations, this could introduce an unpredictable variable into the nation's social fabric, one that intelligence agencies might interpret as a potential destabilizing force. Moreover, the movement's emphasis on self-governance, economic independence, and communal solidarity could foster the development of insular communities operating outside traditional societal structures. Such autonomy has historically been met with suspicion by the U.S. government, as evidenced by the extensive surveillance of Black nationalist movements, civil rights leaders, and even religious organizations like the Nation of Islam. Iran contends that these concerns have driven American intelligence agencies to initiate systematic surveillance efforts designed to monitor, infiltrate, and potentially neutralize the Black Israelite movement before it gains broader traction. Iranian intelligence claims to have gathered information on these covert operations through a combination of cyber warfare, intelligence sharing with U.S. adversaries, and leaks from whistleblowers within the American intelligence community. Tehran, which has long invested in cyber espionage as part of its broader geopolitical strategy, asserts that its analysts intercepted internal FBI memos categorizing the Black Israelites as a high-risk movement due to their religious ideology and increasing popularity. Additionally, Iranian sources suggest that disillusioned former U.S. intelligence operatives have provided insider information detailing the scope of surveillance efforts. These whistleblowers reportedly leaked documents outlining FBI and CIA strategies for tracking Black Israelite gatherings, monitoring their online presence, and embedding undercover agents within the movement's leadership structures. If substantiated, these claims would reveal a troubling pattern of religious and racial profiling, echoing previous intelligence operations against Black-led movements in the United States. According to Iranian intelligence officials, the Black Israelite movement presents a unique challenge to U.S. authorities precisely because it intersects with multiple areas of concern: historical revisionism, political mobilization, and international geopolitics. These dimensions, they claim, render Black Israelites a focal point of state surveillance, not due to any genuine security threat, but because of the movement's potential to disrupt the established order by challenging dominant historical and religious narratives. The U.S. government has a well-documented history of monitoring and suppressing Black-led movements, particularly those advocating for self-governance and challenging dominant historical frameworks. The Black Panther Party, the Nation of Islam, and even Martin Luther King Jr.'s Southern Christian Leadership Conference all faced extensive government surveillance, infiltration, and disruption under COINTELPRO. Declassified FBI documents reveal that one of the program's explicit goals was to prevent the rise of a Black Messiah who could unify and lead African Americans toward greater political and economic autonomy. Iranian analysts argue that this mentality persists today, with Black Israelites now occupying the role of a movement that challenges mainstream religious, historical, and social constructs. According to Iranian intelligence, the surveillance of Black Israelites is an extension of this deeply ingrained institutional fear. The movement's emphasis on reclaiming biblical identity and resisting assimilation into Western religious traditions places it squarely at odds with the mainstream Judeo-Christian framework that underpins American society. Additionally, Black Israelites frequently highlight systemic oppression, addressing issues such as mass incarceration, economic exploitation, and racial injustice, topics that have historically provoked government scrutiny of Black-led movements. Iran suggests that by closely monitoring Black Israelites, U.S. intelligence agencies are not reacting to any tangible security threat, but are instead engaging in preemptive containment of a group that has the potential to shift public discourse in significant ways. While U.S. officials have occasionally pointed to isolated incidents of extremist rhetoric or confrontations involving individuals associated with the Black Israelite movement, Iranian analysts argue that the true motivation behind government surveillance is not fear of violent extremism, but fear of ideological influence. The core claim of Black Israelites, that African Americans are the true descendants of the biblical Israelites, poses a fundamental challenge to widely accepted historical and theological narratives. If this perspective were to gain widespread acceptance, Iranian scholars contend, it could have profound consequences for religious institutions, racial identity politics, and even international relations. Iranian officials outlined three primary reasons why they believe the U.S. government views the growing influence of Black Israelites as a potential threat. First, the movement's assertion that mainstream interpretations of biblical history have been deliberately distorted represents a direct challenge to Western religious institutions. According to this perspective, European powers and religious authorities have historically suppressed the truth about the true identity of the Israelites to maintain control over historical narratives. If the Black Israelite interpretation were to gain traction, it could significantly undermine the credibility of Western religious institutions, particularly those that have upheld a Eurocentric portrayal of biblical figures. This revisionist perspective, Iranian analysts argue, is particularly troubling for the U.S. government because it strikes at the heart of America's religious and cultural foundations. Christianity has played a central role in shaping American identity, and any widespread challenge to traditional theological interpretations could lead to broader societal shifts. If African Americans, and potentially other groups, began embracing an alternative biblical narrative that rejects traditional church teachings, it could diminish the authority of mainstream religious institutions and usher in a wave of religious and cultural realignment. Beyond its religious implications, the Black Israelite movement has increasingly vocalized its stance on systemic racism, police brutality, mass incarceration, and economic inequality. Many Black Israelites see their identity not merely as a religious awakening, but as a call to action against contemporary forms of oppression. Iranian intelligence claims that U.S. intelligence agencies have enacted a series of covert operations aimed at neutralizing the Black Israelite movement. These operations allegedly include extensive digital surveillance, infiltration of Black Israelite groups, and disinformation campaigns designed to discredit the movement's leaders. Iran asserts that the FBI has placed undercover informants within Black Israelite communities, monitoring their activities and gathering intelligence on their beliefs and organizational structures. Furthermore, Iranian reports suggest that the U.S. government is actively shaping media narratives to portray Black Israelites as an extremist fringe group rather than a legitimate religious or historical movement. By linking the movement to isolated incidents of confrontation or controversial rhetoric, intelligence agencies allegedly seek to marginalize Black Israelites in the public eye, making it easier to justify continued surveillance and intervention. Iranian intelligence officials assert that the CIA and FBI are deploying advanced technological tools to monitor Black Israelite gatherings, teachings, and digital footprints. The alleged scope of these surveillance programs is vast, involving AI-driven data analysis, real-time location tracking, and deep infiltration of online spaces where members communicate. If Iran's assertions hold true, these operations mirror Cold War-era intelligence programs such as COINTELPRO, which sought to dismantle Black liberation movements through surveillance, infiltration, and psychological warfare. One of the most striking claims made by Iranian analysts is that U.S. intelligence agencies have intercepted phone calls and encrypted communications of prominent Black Israelite leaders. The leaked documents reportedly detail extensive efforts to gather intelligence on their ideological stances, plans for religious gatherings, and connections with other social movements. Iranian sources suggest that American intelligence agencies have leveraged the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA courts, to justify wiretapping and electronic eavesdropping on individuals associated with Black Israelite communities. While the U.S. government frequently justifies such surveillance in the name of national security, Iran argues that this monitoring is not about preventing terrorism, but about preemptively suppressing an ideological shift that could challenge the status quo. By surveilling private communications, intelligence agencies can anticipate organizational strategies, detect patterns of mobilization, and even plant disinformation to create distrust within the movement. This strategy, Iranian analysts suggest, is not about responding to threats, but about maintaining control over emerging ideological transformations. Iran's intelligence sources further allege that U.S. authorities are utilizing artificial intelligence, AI, to track Black Israelite discourse online. AI-driven programs reportedly analyze keywords, sentiments, and engagement metrics associated with Black Israelite teachings, allowing intelligence agencies to detect emerging trends, identify influential figures, and flag discussions that challenge mainstream narratives on race, history, and religion. According to Iranian analysts, this level of digital surveillance enables U.S. agencies to construct detailed psychological profiles of key Black Israelite leaders, predicting their behavior and preemptively countering their influence. The AI programs allegedly categorize discussions based on themes such as anti-colonial sentiment, critiques of institutional Christianity, and challenges to Western interpretations of Jewish history. Iran argues that such surveillance is part of a broader strategy to maintain ideological control and prevent a large-scale shift in historical consciousness. Beyond digital monitoring, Iranian intelligence reports claim that the U.S. government employs geo-tracking technology to follow the movements of Black Israelite leaders and prominent members. This surveillance involves tracking mobile devices, scanning surveillance cameras near major Black Israelite gatherings, and deploying drones for real-time monitoring. If Iran's claims are accurate, the objective of this geo-tracking operation is to map out networks of influence, identify high-profile gatherings, and preemptively disrupt large-scale religious or political mobilization efforts. These tactics, Iranian analysts suggest, bear a striking resemblance to past intelligence efforts targeting Black nationalist organizations, wherein authorities closely monitored figures like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. to anticipate their movements and neutralize their influence before they could galvanize mass support. Beyond passive surveillance, Iran claims that U.S. intelligence agencies are actively infiltrating Black Israelite communities to disrupt them from within. These covert tactics, reminiscent of strategies used against the Black Panther Party and the Nation of Islam, allegedly include planting informants, instigating internal divisions, and manipulating media narratives to discredit the movement. Iranian intelligence sources allege that the FBI and CIA have embedded informants within Black Israelite congregations, encouraging them to report on organizational activities, leadership disputes, and potential ideological vulnerabilities. These informants are allegedly tasked with gathering intelligence on the internal dynamics of the movement, including financial structures, political affiliations, and recruitment strategies. If these claims are true, the U.S. government's goal is not only to monitor, but also to actively influence the movement from within. By strategically placing informants in positions of leadership or trust, intelligence agencies can shape discussions, redirect organizational efforts, and discourage members from engaging in broader political activism. This strategy mirrors historical tactics used against Black civil rights organizations, where paid informants were deployed to sow internal mistrust and discredit key figures. Iranian analysts go further, claiming that U.S. intelligence operatives have not merely monitored existing theological disputes within the Black Israelite movement, but have actively exacerbated them to weaken internal cohesion. Black Israelites are not a monolithic group. The movement consists of multiple sects with varying interpretations of scripture, identity, and activism. Iranian sources suggest that U.S. intelligence agencies have exploited these differences, amplifying doctrinal disagreements to prevent the movement from forming a unified front. For example, by fueling debates over whether non-Black individuals can be part of the Israelite lineage, intelligence agencies can deepen rifts that undermine collective organization. Similarly, Iranian reports claim that intelligence agencies have encouraged internal conflicts by spreading misinformation about prominent Black Israelite leaders. Through the strategic circulation of rumors, the questioning of leadership integrity, and the fostering of mistrust within congregations, these tactics allegedly aim to destabilize the movement from within, making it easier to control and discredit. Iran's intelligence community further argues that one of the most effective ways the U.S. government seeks to neutralize Black Israelites is by shaping public perception. According to leaked documents, intelligence agencies have collaborated with media outlets to portray Black Israelites as an extremist, anti-Semitic, or fringe movement. Iranian analysts claim that the FBI and CIA have worked with journalists to highlight isolated incidents of radical rhetoric while ignoring the broader, more nuanced teachings of the movement. By focusing on a few controversial figures or confrontational street preachers, the media can frame the entire movement as dangerous or irrational, discouraging mainstream engagement with its ideas. Iran further contends that government-funded think tanks have produced research designed to delegitimize Black Israelite claims, particularly regarding historical identity. By financing scholars who dismiss Black Israelite interpretations of biblical history as pseudo-historical or revisionist, intelligence agencies allegedly seek to prevent the movement from gaining legitimacy in academic and religious circles.
Shalom. Welcome to another video. And as always, before I get started, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakwadash, and next double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the Great Millstone who teach and who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety to all you sincere Akim. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of whether people hear or whether they forbear. Alright, so Salakia for the long introduction. Alright, but that was a clip, okay, that was sent amongst the Brotherhood, alright, where they're saying that the CIA and the FBI have been watching the so-called Black Hebrew Israelites, which ain't no such thing as Black Hebrew Israelites. It's just the Hebrew Israelites. Alright, some of us are so-called Black, alright, but you're also Israelite. You also have Israelites that are Latino, Native American Indian, so-called. All right, and that look like other nations, look like, Arabs or Chinese people. Okay, why? Because Jacob has been scattered. All right, but anyways, we've been knew that they were watching. Okay, but just further, letting you know, exhorting you that the persecution is going to come. Okay, all right, the persecution is going to come just like it came for anyone else who ever tried to help. Okay, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, all right, marginalized groups within the United States, all right, which we're here for the elect, okay? At the end of the day, this is all about the elect. But just know that they are going to come down having great wrath because they know they have but a short time. All right, this Hebrew Israelite awakening is a threat to the status quo, okay? As they said in the video, all right, we're not violent. All we do is go out there and preach the word, okay? But all right, the information that we're bringing out, our ministry, is threatening to, once again, their falsehoods, their lies, their strongholds that they've set up, all right, in order to uplift so-called white supremacy, okay, because that's what America was founded on. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into this topic, all right, and Yahweh Righteous, meaning Heavenly Father's will, is edifying to the elect, okay. So let's start off here in Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8. It says, "Their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified." Okay, so the Israelites, pursuing to Ezekiel the 37th chapter, okay, were dry bones. They were dead bones. Okay, and that means they're spiritually dead. All right, and where? In the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. This is talking about America. All right, and what's happening is that you're having a great awakening of the children of Israel, starting off with here in America and throughout the four corners of the earth, and it's got Esau and the nations in fear, okay, which is the reason why they're coming against it so heavy. All right, and bear with me. Okay, there we go. Up. All right, Revelation chapter 11 and verse 11. All right, it reads, it says, "And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and a great fear fell upon them which saw them." And that's what's happening, okay, because everything is being exposed, as it said it would in the last days, okay? All the lies, all the falsehoods, and the strongholds that Esau has set up, all right, that covering cast is being destroyed. This is Luke 12 and 2. "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known." Okay, and that's what they're trying to stop. All right, it's all about trying to control the narrative, okay? Because that's one of Esau's greatest weapons is deception. That's the reason why he's known of in the scriptures as the devil. That word devil means deceiver, all right, diabolos in the Greek. Okay, it means the deceiver, the slanderer, and that's what they're trying to do, trying to throw dirt on the Hebrew Israelite ministry, okay, because they're afraid of the truth coming out, all right, the truth coming out that they're Esau, that we're Jacob, that the 1948ers, the people that are over there in the land of Israel right now, are not the Jews of the Bible, okay, they're not the Israelites of the Bible. They don't want these things coming out because it's a threat to their society, okay. Their society is built off of lies. So the most dangerous thing to a lie and to liars is the truth. Okay, but this is all the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Isaiah 25:7, it reads, "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations." Okay, and that's what's happening. All right, and once that covering cast, that veil is destroyed, all right, then they know, okay, what comes next, and they're afraid. Okay, they know that their society is going to crumble. This is Jeremiah 50 and verse 43. It says, "The king of Babylon hath heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail." Okay, so they've heard the report of the prophets, so they're trying to stop the prophets from being out there. That's the reason why they hire agents like Vocab Malone, okay, like James White the Edomite, Dr. Michael Brown, and then you have infiltrators within the Hebrew Israelite thing, such as Bishop Nate. All right, he's bought and paid for. Some of the leaders of ISUPK, they're bought and paid for. Any Israelite group that has a 501c3 charter, all right, is in cahoots with this government, and they're bought and paid for. Okay, so this is why they do these things. They try to frustrate the purpose. Okay, and this is nothing new. Okay, I'm gonna read this Ezra the 4th chapter. All right, it goes into that. Okay, back in the day when the Jews were trying to rebuild the temple, all right, you had heathens that were coming trying to stop them from rebuilding. All right, we're going to go ahead and read about it. Okay, so this chapter is entitled "Enemies Oppose the Rebuilding." It says, verse 1, Ezra 4:1 in the NLT, "The enemies of Judah and Benjamin heard the exiles were rebuilding a temple to the Lord, the God of Israel. So they approached Zerubbabel and the other leaders and said, 'Let us build with you, for we worship your God just as you do. We have sacrificed to him ever since King Esarhaddon of Assyria brought us here.'" Okay, so now these are enemies of the Israelites, and what are they trying to do? They're trying to act like they're friends. They say, "We want to build with you," when really their whole purpose is to destroy. Okay, these heathens, all right, they're not here to serve the Lord. Okay, that's not their purpose. They're here to stop you from serving the Lord, because they're afraid of when the children of Israel rise back up, that's the downfall of their kingdom. Okay, continuing on, it says, "But Zerubbabel, Jeshua, and the other leaders of Israel replied, 'You may have no part in this work. We alone will build a temple for the Lord, the God of Israel, just as King Cyrus of Persia commanded us.' Then the local residents tried to discourage and frighten the people of Judah to keep them from their work, and that's what they're trying to do. Okay, they're trying to discourage and frighten, all right, the Israelites from rebuilding this spiritual temple. All right, it says they bribed agents to work against them and to frustrate their plans. Vocab Malone and a lot of different Israelite group leaders. Okay, that's just the truth. This went on during the entire reign of King Cyrus of Persia and lasted until King Darius of Persia took the throne. Years later, when Xerxes began his reign, the enemies of Judah wrote a letter of accusation against the people of Judah and Jerusalem. Even later, during the reign of King Artaxerxes of Persia, the enemies of Judah, led by Bashlam, Mithridath, and Tabeel, sent a letter to Artaxerxes in the Aramaic language, and it was translated for the king. Rehum the governor and Shimshai the court secretary wrote the letter, telling King Artaxerxes about the situation in Jerusalem. They greeted the king, for all their colleagues, the judges and local leaders, the people of Tarpel, the Persians, the Babylonians, and the people of Erech and Susa, that is Elam. They also sent greetings from the rest of the people, whom the great noble and Ashur-banipal had deported and relocated in Samaria and throughout the neighboring lands of the province west of the Euphrates River. So all these different heathen nations joined together, all right, to come up against Jerusalem, come up against Judah and Benjamin, okay, and Levi, okay, the Israelites that were there at that time. It's the same thing today, okay? It's the same thing today. All right, these heathens, and you got Israelites that their whole main goal is to try to get the heathens to be in the kingdom of heaven, ruling over us. That's their whole main goal. Okay, that's why they constantly come on our comment boards talking about Esau, can he be saved and all this and that, because they're more worried about the heathens ruling over us than the Israelites receiving the kingdom that was promised unto them. Okay, but anyways, once again, the same way they're all against us back then, it's the same thing today. The heathen nations are all against us, and a lot of Israelites are not privy to that. Okay, they think that these heathen nations are their friends. They're drunk off of that Babylon juice. Okay, which that word Babel means confusion. All right, but anyways, continuing on, Ezra 4:11. This is a copy of their letter to King Artaxerxes from your loyal subjects in the province west of the Euphrates River. The king should know that the Jews who came to Jerusalem from Babylon are rebuilding this rebellious and evil city. They have already laid the foundation and will soon finish its walls. And the king should know that if this city is rebuilt and its walls are completed, it will be much to your disadvantage, for the Jews will then refuse to pay their tribute, customs, and tolls to you. Since we are your loyal subjects and do not want to see the king dishonored in this way, we have sent the king this information. Okay, so they were saying if the Israelites were able to complete their mission, that they would separate from that society, okay, from the Persian and Mede society, okay. And that's exactly what they're saying in the video, okay. They're trying to stop this awakening because they're afraid that it would expose who they are, all right, and that it would cause the underclass of the society to separate from allegiance to Babylon the Great, all right, which that's exactly what it's supposed to do, okay, because this is not our world, this is not our rest, all right. Ezra 4:15, we suggest that a search be made in your ancestors' records where you will discover what a rebellious city this has been in the past. In fact, it was destroyed because of its long and troublesome history of revolt against the kings and countries who controlled it. We declare to the king that if this city is rebuilt and its walls are completed, the province west of the Euphrates River will be lost to you. Then King Artaxerxes sent this reply to Rahum the governor, Shimshai the court secretary, and their colleagues living in Samaria and throughout the province west of the Euphrates River. Greetings. This letter you sent has been translated and read unto me. I order a search of the records and have found that Jerusalem has indeed been a hotbed of insurrection against many kings. In fact, rebellion and revolt are normal there. Powerful kings have ruled over Jerusalem and the entire province west of the Euphrates River, receiving tribute, customs and tolls. Therefore, issue orders to have these men stop their work. That city must not be rebuilt except at my express command. Be diligent and don't neglect this matter, for we must not permit the situation to harm the king's interest. Okay, so, all right. As a matter of fact, I'm going to keep reading. When this letter from King Artaxerxes was read to Rehum, Shimshai, and their colleagues, they hurried to Jerusalem. Then, with a show of strength, they forced the Jews to stop building. And that's what's getting ready to happen again. Okay? With a show of strength, they forced the Jews to stop building. So, that's going to be the famine of the word in today's time. Okay? They're going to send in, okay, their military, all right, National Guard, FBI, CIA, all right, different alphabet agencies, all right, to go up against the men that are in the truth, the so-called leaders of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, so-called, okay, because they're trying to stop the prophecies from coming to pass, as we always say, all right, because they know that according to prophecy, we'll go ahead and go there, all right, once the Israelites return, that is the end of their kingdom, okay, so Deuteronomy chapter 30, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 7 in the KJV. It says, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee. So this is a prophecy for the Israelites. They would remember all these things, they call them to mind, and shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul. Okay, so that's the reason why they try to tell you the law is done away with, because according to prophecy, the children of Israel return back to the Lord, all right, and they would be obedient unto his law, all right, all that he commanded them that day by the mouth of his servant Moses. It says that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity, all right, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. Okay, so when the children of Israel turn back to the Lord, they're obedient unto him and his commandments through faith in Yahushua, that's when he's going to come and he is going to gather the Israelites. But within that gathering, he's going to destroy all the nations where we have been scattered to. That's Jeremiah 30th chapter. That's the reason why they're trying to stop the Israelite so-called movement from happening, okay? Because they're afraid of the second coming of Yahushua, because they know when he returns, he is going to destroy their empire according to biblical prophecy. All right, continuing on, it says, verse 4, if any of thine be driven out from the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee, and the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. So the people that are there now are going to be destroyed, and they know that. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And here's the part they're afraid of, verse 7. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Okay, this is what they're afraid of. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. Okay, so what are they going to do? They're going to come down having great wrath. Okay, because they know that when the children of Israel wake up, that their time is short. Okay, and they notice, that's why they're afraid. That's why at Revelation 11:11 it said, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. Okay, did I get that? I'm trying to remember. Oh, you know what? I don't think I ever got that. Okay, so let me go ahead and get that now. Salakia, Revelation 11:11. All right, it says, and after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And that's what's happened. Okay, the Spirit of life entered into the children of Israel, all right, and great fear has fallen upon the nations that have seen it. Okay, which is why they're trying to stop us. So they're going to come down having great wrath, persecuting the Israelites, and they're justifying it to the public. So when the persecution comes, they can say that we're terrorists, okay, and all this kind of nonsense. All right, so it's justified in the eyes of the public. All right, this is Revelation 12:10. All right, but they can't stop this salvation. It says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. See that? So he's going to be cast down. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. See that? Okay, so the elect, all right, they're going to overcome him by the blood. The blood is what covers them, okay, and delivers them from the wrath of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because ultimately they are the sword. Okay, what they're about to do is really the left-hand side of the Heavenly Father doing it. All right, so they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They went out there and prophesied the word. Okay, spoke the prophecy. All right, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Okay, so they're willing to die for this truth. All right, talking about the elect, the 144,000, and the rest of the elect men, women, and children. Verse 12, it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. So they're getting ready to roll on us. Okay, they are going to make a move sooner rather than later. Okay, all these things are happening. All these videos are coming out right before the Passover. It's not coincidence. Okay, the brother had the video the other day, yesterday, going into his dream of the death angel going through and just slaughtering Israelites by the thousands. Okay, and now we have this video coming out of the CIA and FBI doing close surveillance on the Hebrew Israelites. This is the reason why, because they're getting ready to come down having great wrath. This is Psalms 37, verses 30 through 34. All right, it says, the mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. Okay, these are characteristics of the elect. Teaching the fear of the Lord, all right, which is wisdom, and talking of judgment. All right, okay, letting you know the different judgments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai against the sinners. It says, the law of his God is in his heart, none of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. And that's why they're doing surveillance on us, because they ultimately want to kill us. Okay, they're not doing that for no reason. They want to control the narrative and eventually push the narrative that we are a dangerous, like I said, a dangerous fringe group, so that they can have the alibi to come in and delete us. Okay, with the backing of the general public. All right, there's a scripture, John 16:2. It says, the day shall come when he who kills you shall think that he does God's service. Because these Christians, okay, they're down with the beast system. Okay, they're down with the beast system, and they're not. And when the truth is being revealed, but they don't have the spine, all right, to stand up for truth. Okay, because they want to be comfortable in this society. To them, this is the kingdom of heaven. Okay, they want to uphold the system that Esau has built. All right, so continuing on. I'm going to read that again. Psalms 37:32. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Okay, so the Most High is not going to allow these devils, all right, to get away with their plots. Okay, as a matter of fact, the scripture says, let me go ahead and get it. I believe it's Isaiah 59:19. Okay, it says that, let's get it. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Okay, so when the enemy comes in, ready to kill the righteous, okay, that's when the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the angels, they're all going to be down here protecting the elect, okay, in that day. So we'll close out with this. Let's go back to that Psalms 37, and I'll read verse 32 to 34. It says, "The wicked watch the righteous and seek it to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it." See that? "I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found." Verse 37. It says, "Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace, but the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off, but the salvation of the righteous is of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. He is their strength in the time of trouble. And Yahweh Bashim Yahushai shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and shall save them, because they trust in him." And that's it, okay? So the Most High, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, is going to deliver us in these last days, man. They're not going to successfully destroy us like they did the Nation of Islam or the quote-unquote Black Panther Party, all right, which we have nothing to do. This is not a black movement, so to speak, but it's of the elect, okay? This is a movement for the elect, which will come looking like many different people, okay? You know, primarily the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, but Jacob is scattered amongst the nations and will look like the different nations. So this is all about the elect, okay? And the Lord will not, he will not suffer the elect to be moved, okay, in these last days. So anyways, I'm going to close out with that. Yahweh Ratchazah was edifying. As always, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachash. And until next time, Shalom, and abide babal.